Hello and welcome everyone to another Bocky's Home tutorial. Long time no see. There have been some requests for a tutorial on how to make this pillow, and I have decided to make a couple of tutorials all building up to a complete pillow. And today I will show you how to make this a single square like this. And with a number of those squares, you can make any size pillow you like. And so that's the building stone of this pillow, and we will get started with that now. Before we start, I suggest that you download the pattern of Woven Crochet Heart. It's a free pattern that I designed, and you will find it in my Ravelry store. There's a link below this video to my Ravelry store. And in round 1 of that pattern, I explain how to make a straight strand of mini squares, like you see here. And you might want to practice that first. And each strand of minis is made up with a forward pass and a return pass. And in the return pass, the mini granny squares are completed. Today I will show you how to make these strands of mini granny squares with the curves in them. And again, they will be made up with a forward pass in which the partial granny squares are made. And then on the last mini granny, you return and start the return pass, and then all the mini granny squares are completed and you end where you started. So that is what I'm going to show you today. I am going to start making a swirl like this one here, and we are going to begin here, and the working direction will be as in the arrows. And this is the first mini granny square that we are going to start with. Every strand of mini granny squares starts with the first mini granny, and they are all made in the same manner, and I will show you that first mini granny now. To make that first mini granny, you will start with a magic ring, and this is how I do it. Just hold everything there, and then this does not count as a chain. It's just to get that magic ring tight. I will start with chain 2. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and in this mini granny square there's nothing out of the ordinary yet, so we chain 2 after those 3 double crochet and do 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 2 again, and 3 more double crochet. Up to now it's still looking like a normal mini granny. 1, 2, 3, and this is where things change. This is your first mini granny on the forward pass, and we are going to leave it like this. It will be finished in the return pass, and here we're going to start the next granny square. We just made this first starting mini granny square, and we are on to the next one, and the next one is going to be a corner granny square, and all these 4 corners here are going to be made in the same manner. So I will show you this corner, and all the next corners will be made in the same manner. Starting every next mini granny square, you will need to chain 6, and that does not count as a stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you will slip stitch in the 3rd back bump of that chain, from the hook. 1, 2, 3. So slip stitch in this back bump here, and we are going to mark this space here with a stitch marker, because we're going to work in that space and it's easier to find if there's a stitch marker in there. You finish the slip stitch and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. What I have just done is the beginning of every next granny. The chain 6, the slip stitch and the chain 3. And none of that counts as a stitch. So the next granny, we take the hook out and we're going to make a pull loop through. We're going to pull the loop through this first double crochet on the side here. PLT, pull loop through. And we're going to make the first double crochet of that next granny, and we're going to make it in that marked space. This is the first double crochet, and we're going to make another pull loop through in this second double crochet on the previous granny, and then we're going to make the second double crochet of that granny square, and we're going to pull loop through again in the third double crochet, and then make the third double crochet of that next granny. So there you go. And now we will join it in the corner here. So pull loop through in the corner and chain 2. 1, 2, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3. And this is your corner granny square made. We will start the next granny square on this point, at this point here. So every corner granny square on the forward pass is going to be made in this manner. We have made this first granny and the corner granny, and we're on to the next granny, which is going to be called a straight granny because it's in a straight line. And all these encircled grannies are straight grannies, and they are all made in the same way. So I will only show you this one, and you will know how to do the others as well. We are going to make the next mini granny, which will be a straight granny, and to start the mini granny we will chain 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and slip stitch in that third back bump, which is over here. Sometimes it's hard to get in, and mark that space. I'll just use the same stitch marker, you don't need to keep them in there. So move the stitch marker up to the next space and finish the slip stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and there we have the start of the next mini granny, the straight mini granny. We're going to pull loop through in this first double crochet, nothing new there, double crochet in the center that you just made there. There we go. It's the first double crochet of that next mini granny square, and again pull loop through in the next double crochet down there, and make your second granny double crochet of that next granny square. Pull loop through in the third granny square down here, third double crochet down here, and make your third double crochet of that next granny square. Now we will join in the corner of the previous mini granny. So just pull loop through there and chain 2. 1, 2, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and double crochet 3 again. 1, 2, 3, and your straight granny is ready. Well, as ready as it can be. All these mini grannies will be completed on the return pass. So you're ready to start the next granny. What we have done now is the first mini granny, the first corner, and the first straight mini granny. The next mini granny is going to be a corner mini granny again, and I've shown you how to make that. It will look like this one here. And after that you will make 2 straight mini grannies, which will look like this one here, and I've shown you that as well. Then you'll make another corner, then you make 3 straight, another corner, and 4 straight mini grannies. And when I'm on this last mini granny here, I will get back to you, and then I'll show you how the return pass goes. For the square that we are making 2 curved parts, and I'm showing you this larger curved part, but there's a smaller curved part as well. You will see the difference more clearly when I put them on top of each other. So you see that they are exactly the same except for this bit here. And so I'm showing you this part, and that's what I'm crocheting right now. And I just want to show you that when we reach that 1, 2, 3, 4th mini granny here, and the partial mini granny counts as a mini granny too, so 1, 2, 3, 4, we are at the point where you can do the return pass for the smaller curved part. The smaller curved part consists of 2, 3, 4, and 4 mini grannies, and that's where I am now. And all partial mini grannies will be counted, so 2, 3, 4, and 4. This would be the part where you start the return pass for that smaller, this one, the smaller curl. But I'm making the larger curl, so I need to add another granny here, and that's going to be this corner granny here. So I'm going to add the corner granny and then 4 more straight grannies, and then I will show you the return pass, and the return pass works the same on both the curls. I have reached this last mini granny, and this is not looking like a curved strand at all. So don't worry, this is what your work will look like at this point. And before you start on the return pass, you should check the number of grannies on each side. So you can lay it down as it should be laid down, as you are going to expect that it should be. And then count. You will have 2 minis on this stretch, 3 minis on this stretch, 4 minis on that stretch, and you're counting the partial mini grannies as well, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the last stretch here will have 5 as well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that is all correct, you can start on the return pass at this point. We've made those last 3 double crochet here. Now we're going to chain 2 and 3 double crochet in this eye over here. Let's just call that an eye of this last granny, mini granny. And then chain 1 and slip stitch under these 2 loops here. Slip stitch, and that mini granny is complete. Chain 1 again and complete the next mini granny with 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, slip stitch under these 2 loops here, and you have completed another mini granny. Chain 1 and 3 double crochet in this next mini granny here. So that's how you complete these straight mini grannies. I will get back to you when I'm at this corner mini granny. These 4 straight mini grannies have been completed, and I am now at this corner mini granny. I'm going to chain 1, 3 double crochet in that center eye there. 1, 2, 3, and I didn't get the yarn there. I'm just going to do that one more time. 3, and I think you will guess that there's going to be a chain 2 here and 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and chain 1 and slip stitch in these 2 loops here. Could be hard to get into sometimes, but it is possible. So, and then the corner granny is ready as well. Chain 1, and you can continue on the return pass, and you will get it now, I think, with the 3 double crochet in all these straight grannies, a chain 1, a slip stitch, and a chain 1 in all these connecting points, and well, the corner is a chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1. And that's how we're going to work towards the end of this whole curl. I'll be back with you when I'm at the end. I'm back at the very first granny of this curve, and for the return pass I'm just going to chain 1, 3 double crochet to finish this first granny, and then chain 2, cut the yarn and pull it up and out of that stitch, and then this yarn end can be worked away in that magic ring over there, and this yarn end will just remain there as a reminder that the starting chain 2 does not count as a stitch. And I'm going to insert the needle under these 2 loops here and back in that last chain and in there, and then pull it tight. So now we have the curved mini strands. This is the bigger one, this is the bigger one as well, and I've made 2 smaller ones as well. And I will probably make more colors because I am always in doubt with which color choices I am going to use and which colors I will combine. For now, I think I will be combining these 2. So the next step will be the zipper stitch to connect these 2 curved mini strands, and then the square will be ready. To make the zipper seam in just one go, you will need to start at this outer point here or there. It doesn't really matter where you start. If you're making multiple squares, I do suggest that you start at the same point every time so that your zipper seam is pointing in the same direction every time. So I'm choosing to start here, and I am going to use a nice green, but you could use orange or a pink if you like. That's up to you. Just use the color that you like. I like a color that is standing out. And to start the zipper seam, I have wrapped the yarn around my hook. You could start with a slip knot on the hook, but I don't like knots. And we are going to start in the back loop of this chain here, so in the second chain, because the second chain belongs to this side of this little granny square. Insert the hook there and then get the back loop of this chain here and pull the yarn up, and because there's no slip knot, this is a bit, so there you are. This first stitch is a bit complicated, and you will be keeping the working yarn behind your work all the time. And the zipper seam is all about connecting the stitches, the project parts, in the back loops. And the back loop of this double crochet is going to get connected to the back loop of that double crochet. You will always connect a double crochet on one side to a double crochet on the other side. If you find that you are connecting a double crochet on one side and a chain stitch to the other side, like I'm doing now, you are probably skipping a stitch, because it should be in the double crochet on the other side. And this is all you need to do. So here's a chain stitch, pick the back loop, or only one loop, and one loop of that chain stitch there, and pull the yarn up and out. And then you have this border where the PLTs were made. You're going to pick a back loop there as well, and pick this loop here on the other side, and pull the yarn up and out. And this is how you are going to connect the minis from the orange part to the minis on the pink part. In my case then, I don't know which colors you chose, and sometimes it can be difficult, but you know there's a chain there, so just pick it. And I do suggest that you take the whole yarn and not part of the yarn. Now I'm fiddling. Okay, got it. Picking it up, and there we go. So that's the way to continue. And when I get to this corner here, it's going to be a little bit different, so I'll show you there what we do there. So here I am zipping along. These double crochets are getting connected, and then there's this chain stitch here that is going to get connected to this chain stitch there. And then we are in that corner where things are done a little bit differently, because this chain stitch here was connected to this little square here, and the next chain stitch is going to be connected to that the chain here, the chain on this little mini square. To make this line here nice and sharp, we are going to slip stitch in just one loop of this corner mini granny. So I'll show you. So that's only going to be in one loop of this corner mini granny. Just going to pick that loop there and pull the yarn up and out. That is to make the line nice and sharp, nice sharp corner. Now we can continue with the zipper in the back loop of this chain and in the back loop of the chain on the neck. There we are at the next corner. I've connected this one chain of this mini to the chain on that mini, and I am going to connect this side to that side. And before I do that, I'm just gonna slip stitch into this one loop here of this corner granny, so that the line is nice and sharp again. And then we can continue with the zipper stitch as before, and It's a bit fiddly. Sometimes you can just take the front loop there. That's easier. And then there's the 3 double crochets. And you will be zipping along and making a nice line in the work. I bumped into another point of interest. It's that chain 2, starting chain 2 of the mini granny square. I still have this yarn end here that's supposed to remind me. So this little thing here should be skipped. Here we have a chain, and that's going to be connected to the chain on the opposite side. And I'm just going to get this front loop of the chain now, because the back loop of the chain is so hidden. So for the chains, it doesn't really matter if you take that front top loop. Okay, so here's that chain 2 that we are supposed to skip. It's not a stitch. And here's the first double crochet. And it's going to be connected to the double crochet on the opposite side. And then you are a-okay. And otherwise you will not be, your stitches won't match up at the end here. The chain won't match up with the chain on that side. So I just wanted to show you that. Because we passed that chain 2 starting point of this orange strand of minis, we are now seeing that this corner granny square is on this side of the seam. Before, the corner granny square was on the opposite side of this seam, and there you did a slip stitch in only one loop of this seam here, and it was on the opposite side, and now it's on the same side, on this side of the seam, and we are still just going to take one loop and slip stitch in that one loop of this little granny here to get that seam straight. And then you can continue with the zipper seam. And I must point out that we are now at the starting point of the pink zipper seam. So here we have 3 double crochets, and we are connecting each double crochet on the orange side to the double crochet on the pink side. And that is all a-okay. Here's the 3rd double crochet connected, and then we are at this chain stitch again, and here is that starting chain 2. This little thing here, you should skip that, and this is the chain you need to work in. So again, slip stitch in this loop of that corner granny to get this line straight, line sharp corners. Turn the corner again, and then you can just continue, and there are no strange things left to do here. We'll go to the end here, and I will just show you how to fasten that off. Just one more chain stitch on this last mini, orange mini, and one more chain stitch on this opposite pink mini that need to be connected with the zipper. And the zipper seam is finished. And all I need to do now, and I already cut the yarn, is just pull it up and out of that stitch there. So this is what your square should look like now, with the zipper seam in it. We have come to the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed and that everything was clear. Just let me know in the comments if anything wasn't clear. I showed you how to make these curved strands of minis, the bigger one and the smaller one, and how they can puzzle in each other together. I also showed you the zipper seam to connect the 2 parts, And in the next tutorial, I will take you a step further in making a pillow. So I think making squares like these, making more squares like this, will keep you busy for a while. I will make a couple more too, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.